You gotta keep on breathing if you wanna make sense of it all. We will not fall. It's all about finding what's comfortable for you today. So we're going to be sitting for a number of minutes at the beginning doing our meditation. So making sure that you're sitting on either a block, a cushion, a zafu, a meditation seat, or maybe against a wall or in a chair. I'm sitting on a bolster. You can, of course, kneel over the bolster as well. That's quite nice. We're going to take our Jan Mudra. Jan Mudra is the thumb and the index finger just lightly touching. The other three fingers are together and outstretched, and then you just rest the backs of the hands down onto the knees. So making sure that the wrists, elbows, and shoulders are nicely soft and relaxed there as well. So just check in with how you're sitting, making those adjustments now, because we would like to obviously stay still without fidgeting, without any distraction for our meditation. And just allow yourself to become present here. So starting to maybe close the eyes if you like, or taking a soft gaze down at the floor in front of you, softening the area around the eyes, particularly in the center of the eyebrows, around the temples, and into the jaw. And our breathing rhythm starts to bring us into the present moment as you start to breathe in and out of the nostrils. Just allowing that breath to be smooth, steady. You don't need to judge or criticize the breath in any way at all. Just let it happen naturally. And as we come towards the end of our month's theme of the 8 limbs of yoga, from Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, we finish up with the 3 that are the focus to meditate. So, Dharana being the focusing, the awareness, and the concentration. The Dhyana, the meditation and the sustaining awareness. And then finally, the 8th limb of Samadhi, the union, the illumination, or the bliss. And collectively, they are all the progressive states of concentration. And there's actually a Zen Buddhist quote that says everyone should meditate for 20 minutes a day. Unless they are really busy, then they should meditate for an hour. So maybe you don't have an hour, maybe you don't have 20 minutes, but if you do have 5 minutes in your day just to sit and just to breathe and just come together with yourself, that mind and body connection, that will help you return back to your day with a brighter train of thought, bringing clarity and concentration back into your day. So let's just meditate now together for the next 5 or 6 minutes. This is where we let go of the control. Mindfulness meditation is a practice of non-controlling. We control so much in our life. But here, we see if we can just let the breath be and observe it without trying to fix it or interfere. Mindfulness is an attitude we adopt when we let go of the motivation to control the present moment. So feel comfortable as you sit here in this meditation posture you chose. Feel the weight of your sit bones on the earth with equal weight left to right. Let your hips become heavier. And from the base of the spine, lift upwards towards the crown of the head. Release the shoulders, down the back. Feel alert, but at ease. And start to pay attention to the exhales, your exhale breath. Are they long or short? Calm or jagged? Does the exhale leave your body in a rush? Or do you not quite get to the bottom of the exhale breath? And where does the breath leave your body? Remember, you are not trying to control or fix the exhale. You are simply observing it. Keep paying attention to the exhale. Now start to pay attention to the spaces between the breath. Are they spacious or are they short? Are you rushing back to the inhale breath? Does the space seem non-existent or spread out? Just keep your attention on the spaces between the breath, the space between the in and the out and the in. Keep paying attention to the spaces. Now shift your attention to the inhale breath. Where does this breath enter your body? At the tips of the nostrils or the top of the lip? Is the inhale warm or cool? Are you grasping for the breath? Does it appear out of nowhere? Just observe. There is no need to change anything. Keep paying attention to the inhale breath. Allow the natural flow of your breath to take over. The breath will move of its own accord. You are simply observing. Now observe the 4 parts of the breath. The inhale, the space before the exhale, and the sweet pause before you inhale again. Keep paying attention to the 4 parts of the breath. Letting go of the control, letting the breath flow naturally, freely, easily, and smoothly. Inhale to fullness, exhale to emptiness. The mind and the body will naturally fall into equilibrium as you allow this process to unfold. And just release that breath. Take a few deeper breaths in and out. Start to release the mudra, opening up the fingers, the palms, wiggling, bringing movement back into the hands, back into the wrists, back into the elbows. Circling the shoulders up towards the ears and back. And as you start to begin to free yourself from your seat, this asana, wherever you have chosen to sit, take your time to do that. And we just spent 10 minutes on that just simple breath meditation. So if your feet now feel a little bit too cramped up, give those a little wiggle. Give yourself a squeeze, nice big hug. And then we'll come into our slow and stretchy practice from there. So we brought ourselves into this state of complete awareness and concentration to our mind and body working together. So let's come into tabletop position. You can take the knees just a little bit wider. You can take the hands just a little bit wider of the hips and the shoulders. And just start to move the hips left and right. And then move the shoulders left and right. And again, I want you to just allow the body to do what it wants to do. Then you might start introducing a little S-bend into the spine. So the hips go one way, the shoulders go the other, and you might start turning the head to look back towards the feet. And notice how far you can actually take this. You might pull the hip back towards the heel whilst you're looking over one shoulder. And just see how the body responds to what, again, you want it to do or are asking it to do. And maybe it wants to go somewhere. And then you can start circling the hips forwards and back. So as you bring the hips back towards the heels, breathe out. And as you come forward, breathe in. So getting that breath moving with the body. Exhaling back. Inhaling forward. And then if you haven't already, just circle the other way. Changing the rotation. And then nice and slowly, you can bring yourself into a wide-legged child's pose. So keep the knees a little bit wider, maybe as wide as your mat. Bring the toes together, drop the hips back towards the heels, and bring the elbows down in front of you on the mat, and bring the thumbs towards the nape of the neck. If you can, press the palms together. You don't have to, of course, just try and press into the elbows. You're going to stretch across the chest and the upper back there. The thumbs are pressing down towards the line of your spine. Give a little extra press there into the armpits, into the spine. You feel the forehead is quite heavy down onto the mat. Gently, a little bit of pressure onto the forehead. Nice and slowly, you can release the hands forward. Circle through the wrists. Give the fingers a little shake. Come back up into that tabletop position, bringing the knees back up in line with the hips, and then do your rounds of cat and cow from here. So again, flowing with the breath, the exhale breath is releasing into your cat. So really let everything go from full to empty on that curvature of the spine. And then the inhale comes forward into your cow. So really pushing away through the palms. Good. Then we're going to increase this one. We're going to come forward a little bit. So we're dropping the hips. You don't have to go all the way. So we drop the pubic bone down. Good. Dropping the hips forward. And then gently pulling back and pressing the chest back towards the thighs. You don't have to come all the way to child's pose. So it's just moving through like an upward dog back into child's pose. And notice where this feels the stretch most. Me personally, I feel it in my lower back when I come into this up dog. You might feel it somewhere different. And then once you've done that 2 or 3 times, we're going to slide the hands forward of the shoulders and come into your melting heart pose. So you might want to rest the head on a block or a cushion. Soften into your melting heart. Notice if there is any pinching, gripping. Really give into the breath here. You might be resting on the forehead, a block, or the chin. If you have got the chin resting down, you're looking forward towards the thumbs. Slow breath. And nice and smoothly transition all the way onto the belly, come all the way down into prone. Good. Bring the head underneath the hands, bring the big toes to touch, and relax through the spine here. Relax through the glutes and the buttocks. Notice if you're gripping anywhere around the buttocks, around the outer hips. Give them a little shake, left and right. Rock the pelvis. And let's come into our broken wing. So our broken wing, left arm either at a 45-degree angle bent into the elbow, or you can straighten that arm out. The palm is face down. Right hand comes underneath the right shoulder. And you're going to roll onto your left hip here. So you can keep the legs bent if you like, or you might like to open up the hip. That's going to feel a little bit deeper. So keeping the knees together, stacked on top of one another, or opening up the hip. Now again, your arm is going to decide where you need to be in this one. So deep, slow breaths. Don't go to your deepest point. First of all, that's it. Personally, I feel it's more challenging with the arm in half cactus than when the arm's straight out. But you might feel differently. We want to hold for about 10 or 12 breaths each side, which is about a minute, minute and a half. Notice if you're gripping, try and let go of the control. Now then, nice and slowly, bring yourself back through the center. You're going to place the right hand then underneath the forehead, and the left hand flips the palm up to the sky as you soften into that left shoulder. Again, relax into the hips and the glutes and the buttocks as you just recover. That was particularly tight for me there. So left hand comes underneath the left shoulder, right hand either into that half cactus, bend at the elbow or straight, rolling over onto your right hip, and you can bend up the knees, stacking one on top of the other, or you might like to tap the toe and just open up the hip a little bit. It stretches along the quads, stretches into the hip flexor. Deep breaths. Again, about 10 to 12 breaths. So try and give those breaths the length they need and deserve. Dropping as much weight as you can into that right arm, right armpit. And nice and slowly bring yourself back into the center. Left hand comes underneath the forehead, right hand goes back by the hip, palm face up so that you can soften into that right arm. Relax the glutes, relax the hips. Soften all the weight into the ground. Good. And then just reach the left arm back. And you're going to stretch the hands back behind the sacrum. You might like to interlace the fingers here. We're going to lift up the upper body only, pushing the knuckles towards the heels. We don't have to come too high. You're lengthening the crown of the head away, but really push the knuckles away as you pull the shoulder blades towards one another. Stay and hold. See if you can hold for 5 or 6 breaths. Good. Pulling navel into spine. Press into the tops of the feet. Good. Feel the stretch down the side of the arms. And nice and slowly roll it down. Hands by the hips. Turn to the cheek. Sway out. And then let's bring the hands back underneath the shoulders. Push ourselves back up through tabletop. Come back to child's pose. And then slowly, roll up through the spine. If you're not comfortable with kneeling, you can sit on a bolster or you can sit on a block. We're just going to give our arms a little bit of a stretch here. So bringing the right arm in front of you, straight across the body. That's it. Good. And squeeze that arm in towards you. Try not to lift this shoulder up towards the ear. Reach the fingers away. Now, if you like, you can come into what I call a twisted eagle. So it's on the side of the body. That's it. You might feel that down that side there. Good. So lift the elbows up. Reach the fingers up towards the sky. Good. Try and keep the spine nice and straight. That's it. Good. Oh, heard my shoulder crack there. And release. Good. Give the shoulders a little shake. Crossing over the other side. Give that a squeeze in first of all. So we're starting off with our upper body, but we're going to move to our lower body in a minute. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then you can do the wrap with the twisted eagle. That's it. It doesn't matter where you hold the hands. I kind of holding onto my thumb. Good. Pulling that the arms across the body without kind of twisting the torso. Spine stays nice and straight. And good. Release. Open it out. Woo! And circle. I tell you what, I can just feel that all down there. Let's get into the hips and the legs. If you like, you can use your bolster. You don't have to, of course. That goes underneath your back thigh, using your blocks if you need to as well on any of those levels. High level, we're going to start to come into our nice dragons and monkeys. So again, don't go too deep too soon. Think about how your body might be feeling. Maybe you've been at work all day. Sitting down. So just dropping the hips, lifting up the navel slightly, keeping the chest nice and lifted for the moment. Good, beautiful, lovely dragons there. Pull the shoulders away from the ears, keep the neck nice and long. And if you like, you can, of course, come down onto the forearms, but not at the compromise of the shoulders. So try and keep the shoulders nice and level. So the left shoulder isn't dropping more than the right. And that's why blocks really help to fill space. Try and relax through the glutes here. Soften out through the hips. Let go of any gripping. Just want you to feel where this stretch comes for you. Good. Again, holding for about 10 or 12 breaths. Gravity hopefully takes you down a little bit deeper. We're going to slowly bring ourselves out. So bringing your hands back up onto the blocks or onto the mat. Lifting up the heart space and start to gently pull the hips back towards the knee. So trying to get the knee in line with the hip here, and you can pull those blocks back. Now, keep the heel to the right side of your mat for the moment. We're going to start to fold the body with a flat back. So pull navel into spine. Try not to round too much into the chest and shoulders. So maybe the blocks go a little bit forward and you can soften out through that right knee. That's it. Yeah, lovely. So keep reaching forward and folding from the hips, trying to keep the spine long. Yeah, you're going to feel that a little bit deeper in the back of the leg there. And maybe you don't need the blocks and you can slide those away and you can bring the hands down. Now the fingertips reach towards the front of the mat. Crown of the head reaches towards the thumbs. You're digging that right heel in again. Not forcing yourself to go too deep too soon, and then you might find that place where you stay and find those breaths. Try and soften, relax, release, let go. Maybe the fingers slide a centimeter away further. Bring the body deeper, deeper, deeper towards the ground. Trying not to overstretch, but feeling something. And let's start to bring those hands back. Ooh, bring yourself up. And then nice and slowly bend into the knee and release it back behind you. Now, just give that little hip a workout there, so you can come down into your tabletop if you like and just do a figure of eights with the hip. Good. And let's go other side. So left foot first comes into our lizard or our dragon using blocks. Dropping hips forward, keeping the chest lifted before going down onto the forearms. Pull navel back into the spine. Good. Making sure left and right hips are nice and equal there. Lovely. Beautiful. You do not have to go down onto the forearms, but if you like to, making sure that the right shoulder and the left shoulder are nice and equal, level, and parallel to the mat. Notice if you've started gripping anywhere in the under part of the pelvis, the pelvic floor. Try and soften out there. We don't need to engage any mula bandhas or uddiyana bandhas. These are very passive stretches, using gravity really to take us deeper. Nothing has to be forced. Let the breath and the body guide you. Taking your time to come out of the posture, bringing the hands back up onto the blocks or to the mat. Lifting up through the chest, dropping hips, getting the shoulders away from the ears. Nice. And then start to gently pull the hip back towards the back of the mat. We're going to dig the front heel in, bring those toes up towards the shin, soften into that left knee if you need to. Hinging from the hips, start pressing the chest forward. So we're folding with a nice flat back, not rounding through the spine. Yeah, great. And again, if you need to, sliding those blocks forward. Crown of the head reaches towards the thumbs or towards the blocks. Ooh, much tighter on this side. So be aware if there's any imbalances through the right and the left sides. Soften through that left knee. So our right hip is hopefully above our right knee, nice and stacked. And we're aiming to get that front leg straight, but it doesn't have to be. Reach those fingers a little bit further forward. Exhale. Reminding yourself of the inhale, the space, the exhale, and the space. And nice and slowly come forward. Bring the hands down. Sweep that left leg back carefully. And then just give those figure of eights into the hip. You may have felt that a little bit right into the buttocks, right at the top of the glutes, top of the hamstrings. And let's come off of the knees. Swing those legs around. That was a deep stretch, wasn't it? So let's place the soles of the feet together. And if you like, again, you can sit on a block if you need to. Just rock from left and right. Make sure that you are spreading out the flesh underneath and just grounding through the sit bones. We're going to start to pull the navel back towards the spine. Come into a rounded fold this time, a butterfly fold. So we're bringing the crown of the head downwards towards the feet. Let the head relax as much as possible there. Relax into the shoulders. Good. We're pulling navel gently back towards the spine. That's it. And if you like, you can, of course, interlace the fingers underneath the feet and pull yourself a little bit. Gravity helps the body fold forward, but then you can simply pull yourself closer towards your legs. Good. Use the elbows to leverage out the calves and knees. Keep pulling navel to spine. Soften the head down. Again, those slow inhales, space, exhale, space. Slowly roll up through the spine. Take your time, no rush. Bringing the shoulders back up in line with the hips. Bringing the head up, sitting nice and tall. Reach the hands back around you. Fingertips face forward. Draw the elbows together. Shoulder blades squeeze together. And lift the chest. Lengthen from the lower back. That's it. Beautiful. Nice back bend. Try not to let the knees come up, but push the knees away. You kind of push the pubic bone, as it were, towards the heels. You might come down onto the palms. You might be on the fingertips. It's a big open chest here. Just 5 breaths, just a recovery. Nice. And bring yourself back into center. Lift the knees together. Give yourself a big hug there. Just cross the hands over the ankles. Exhale and relax. So this time you might need the bolster, you might need the block. We're going to go into our quads a little bit here. So left leg extends, right leg bends back behind us. It's a half hero. So sitting either on that block underneath the buttocks, sitting nice and tall. And if that's really uncomfortable into that foot, again, sitting up on the block really helps. That's it. Okay. So you can stay here. This might just be enough for you. That's it. And if you need to, soften into that left knee. Okay, good. Sit nice and tall. If you like, you can start to lower yourself back down. Good. You don't have to. Try to keep drawing the right knee down. Try not to let the right knee pull itself away from the mat. Good. Lovely. And that might be just enough for you there. I'm going to stay there. I don't need to go all the way back. I'm already feeling it down in my thighs. I did a 9.5 mile walk in the Dales on Saturday, so still recovering from that, I think. My legs weren't used to it. Again, finding that nice 10 to 12 breaths. So it's important when we come to these slow and stretchy sessions that we work most of the larger muscles of the body, but also the joints. So here we're working into the knee and the ankle, but also into the quadriceps and into the psoas and the hip flexors. Let's bring ourselves up nice and gently into that upright position, and then roll over onto our left hip to release that right leg out in front of us. Before we go to the other side, just want to give yourself a little stretch out. So lifting up the arms and reach up and over, folding from the hips over into your forward fold. So nice straight legs if you can, or just soften through the back of the knees. Nice. Drop the hands down towards the shins, ankles. That's it. Relax into the shoulders. Beautiful. Navel gently pulls back towards the spine. We're trying to get the belly free of the thighs. And then lengthen the spine away, flat back. You're going to feel that probably underneath the sit bones. And bring yourself back upright. Roll onto your right hip, left leg bends back behind you. Good. Sitting on that block again, that right leg extends. And then calming back into that half hero or half saddle position. Try and draw down the left knee, down towards the mat. Good. That's it. Lovely. And just notice right and left. Again, is there a big difference? Or are they about the same? Soften into the knees, ankles, quadriceps, and that left hip flexor. And let's gently press ourselves back up. Come back up to seated and roll over onto your right hip, bringing that left leg out in front. Give those legs a shake. Let's go wide leg. So you can sit sideways on if you like. And you can use the bolsters, you can use the blocks to support the head. You can bend into the knees, sit nice and tall here, pull navel into spine, relax the shoulders. And then again, just fold from the hips. So imagine that you're literally folding from the hips here with a nice flat back. Yeah, good. So the chest presses downwards. Good, amazing. And then the hands can rest in front of you. And notice, have the toes rolled inwards, or are you externally rotating the thighs and they are pointing up towards the sky? So it's slightly different here in this fold, where you might want to go like this, thinking, oh, I want to get my head further down towards the mat. But it's actually going to feel completely different when you fold with a nice flat back. Yeah. Pull navel gently back towards the spine, resting on blocks and bolsters. Good. Breathing into those tight areas. Here we're starting to target into the inner thighs, inner groin, spine. Good. And those 10 to 12 breaths. All you have to do is just focus on how this feels, the sensations, and the breathing. Slowly coming out of the posture, you're going to come all the way back to your upright position. And then take the hands to the knees, bringing them in. And then just release the knees left and right. Good. If you are sideways on, then we're going to start to come down onto our backs. So you can come to the front of your mat and bring the blocks down by the side of you. And if you have a strap handy as well, that might help. And let's come all the way down onto our backs and squeeze the thighs in towards the belly and the chest. And you might like to wrap the hands over, either taking hold of the wrists or maybe taking hold of the elbows, and just give yourself a big squeeze, massaging through the spine. So let's start to circle the knees around one way and the other. This feels nice because this gives you a nice little back massage. And then you can open out the knees and start to circle into the hip joints. Hip joints have been targeted from our lizards. And also if you did the hip opener in the broken wing, also from the beginning of child's pose. And the wide and the butterfly, seated butterfly. Yeah, so we've got into the hips a little bit here. Let's take a happy baby. We're going to take the knees nice and wide. We're going to take the feet up towards the sky. Take hold of the outer edges of the feet, the ankles, or the calves, or the back of the thighs. Roll left and right, trying to drop a knee down towards the mat, and then come back into stillness as you lengthen the tailbone down. Pull the thighs away from the sides of your waist so that you're pulling the thighs downwards towards the mat, and the soles of the feet go up towards the sky. Now relax here. I mean, relax everything. Sphincter, pelvic floor, buttocks. Try not to grip. This is a great wind reliever. Allow the belly to be free of the thighs. There's nothing compressing there. Good. And if you like, you can keep hold of the left foot and you can start to extend the right leg from the back of the knee. So you're going to be pulling those toes downwards towards the mat. You've got bent left leg and right leg straight. Tailbone pulling down. Your spine is nice and flat. Good. So left leg bent, right leg straight. And release into the back of the knee, and then extending from the left back of the knee. Good. So technically this is bringing us into our wide-legged seated fold, which we just did a moment ago. Bring that right leg back. Now, if you like, extend both legs together. pull those toes downwards. Good job. Great. Well done. Yeah. Lengthening spine, pulling tailbone down. You'll feel the whole spine connecting. You're pulling the toes down. Legs are stretching. Go easy on yourself. It's a deep one. This is your wide leg forward fold. We just did it. And bring those heels back in together. Oh, and place the soles of the feet nice and wide. Drop the knees in towards the center. Constructive rest. Notice how that felt on the inner groin, the inner thighs, the adductors. Good. Let's cross our legs, coming into our reclined shoelace pose. Reaching the hands towards the feet, pull the feet apart from one another. Okay, if you struggle with that one, just use a strap looped over the shins. So if you've got your strap handy, then you can simply place the strap on the shins and pull the knees towards you. That's it. Or you are pulling right leg to the left and the left leg to the right. We're pulling knees straight towards the sternum. Notice where this one feels. We're crushing right thigh down onto the belly, compressing there. You might feel that in this right outer hip. Can't reach your feet. Can you reach your shins? Have you got a strap? It's technically cow face. So it's the cow face legs. That's it. Yeah, that's it. Pull them apart. One to work on. So I'm going to do this. Actually, I'm going to show you from this end. You see what I'm doing? I'm pulling the feet apart from there. That's it. Yes. So it's an opposition stretch. Nice and slowly release. Oh, bring yourself back into that constructive rest. So where do we feel that? Might be in the outer hip, into the glutes. Let's go other side. So you cross the left over. The knees are nice and central. So the knees stay in line with your chest and sternum. And then you reach the hands down and you start to pull the feet apart from one another. That's it. So then you're pulling the left thigh down towards the belly and that left knee towards the sternum. That's it. Good. Try not to roll over onto the left hip. Pull the right side of your back, the right waist downwards. It's not an easy one, reclined shoelace. Breathe into it. Doing great. Good, Dad. Well done, Sarah. Nice. And nice and slowly let go of the hands. Unravel the legs. Place the feet wide. Drop the knees together. Well done. Keep the feet wide. Lift the knees apart. And just rock the knees over right and left. So windscreen wiping. Good. That's opening up into the hips, the quads, the buttocks, and a twist into the spine. That's it. Good. Nice. Now let's stay one side. And you can open the arms out if you like. Looking towards your left hand, pulling down your left shoulder, and just drop into this left leg here. Now, if you want to increase the intensity of that stretch, the right foot simply hooks on top of the left thigh. That's it. Both legs are bent. Good. Release the top foot and bring it back into center. Realign the hips and the pelvis. Let the knees drop over to the left. Again, intensifying that stretch. The left foot goes on top of your right knee and thigh. Really, the left leg is pulling that right knee down deeper. And release that foot if you took that option. Bring yourself back into center and realign hips and spine. Draw the knees in nice and softly this time. Circle out through the spine. Knees go one way, knees go the other. Open out into the hips. Can do a few circles there. Let's come into reclined butterfly. Soles of the feet come together. Bringing the hands down onto the hips, letting the elbows relax down by the side of you. The feet don't need to be too close in towards the body. I just want you to have a nice spacious diamond between the pubic bone and the heels. And just notice if the spine is naturally curving, natural lordosis happening there. Shoulder blades are spread out. Let the knees become heavy. And a little final work on our hamstrings. Bring the legs together. We're going to realign the hips and the pelvis there as we soften into the lower back. Hands come down by the side of you. Push into the feet, lifting up into your bridge pose. Drive the knees away. This is just a recovery stretch. So we're engaging the glutes. The hamstrings are firing up. The quads are firing up. All of this area that we worked on. Stretch, stretch, stretch. If you like, interlace the fingers underneath the buttocks and you can pull the shoulder blades together. Get a little bit higher. That's all the work that we did when we were down on the mat, into the shoulders, the upper back, the chest. And then releasing hands, rolling down. Keep the navel pulled into the spine. Pubic bone stays nice and high. And let's lift both legs up towards the sky. Feel the stretch through the back of the legs. And see if you can reach towards the feet with the hands. So you're going to bring the toes closer, closer, closer towards you without lifting the tailbone away from the mat. Maybe you take hold of the toes. This is technically what would be a downward facing dog because you're still in this V shape. If you don't quite meet the feet with your hands, you can use the strap. And the strap just loops over the top of the feet and you hold the ends of the strap. Keep the tailbone pulling down. Pull the toes towards you. Nice. That's really firing up into the spine and into the backs of the legs. And gently release the legs. Good. Give yourself a little release out. Circle, massage. Do what needs doing. Do what feels good. Stretch the arms above the head. Stretch the legs away. We're going to come into final relaxation in Shavasana now. So I would probably advise using your props of bolsters underneath the knees. We've done a lot of work into the spine and the legs. So making sure that you're nice and warm, that the body temperature will drop really, really quickly. Yeah, because we haven't been overdoing it. And make sure that you've got nothing by the sides of you that your hands are going to touch and cause a distraction. So make sure that the legs are comfortable, the feet are relaxed, the toes are relaxed. Soften into the calves, the shins, the knees, thighs, hamstrings, particularly the buttocks, all the area around the outer hips. Soften into the hip flexors, the inner thighs. Let the belly rise and fall naturally with the breath. Relax into the sides of the body, the lower back. Feel connected through the lower back, connected through the waist, the middle back. Make sure the shoulders are nicely spread out underneath you. And you can just lift up and nestle them apart. Backs of the arms, backs of the hands, fingers lightly curling up towards the wrist. And there's no tension anywhere in the legs, the body, or the hands or the arms. The breath is steady, easy, smooth, focusing only on your breathing as you lie here. No other thoughts pop into the mind. If they do, you're aware of that and you let go of those thoughts. You take the control back there. Bring yourself back into the present moment with the breath. Take the focus into the throat, the jaw. The facial expression softens, relaxes. It's less hard around the forehead, the jaw, and the teeth. The eyes sink deeper back into the sockets as you soften the area around the eyebrows and the forehead. Even relax your ears. Even feel that your hair is relaxed. And as you take a deep breath in, long, slow, deep breath out, let go of everything from the crown down to the feet. The body becomes heavier and more grounded. And I'm going to leave you for silence in Shavasana for a few moments. I'll let you know when it's time to come back around. Begin to take some deeper breaths as you bring your awareness back into your surroundings, onto the mat and back into the body. Wiggling fingers moving into the wrists. Wiggling toes moving into the ankles. Stretching the arms, stretching the legs. And then bringing knees gently in towards the chest. We don't have to crush the thighs against the belly. Roll and massage out. And gently roll to one side. And take time to press yourself up. Returning to a comfortable seat, whatever that is for you, if you need a block or a bolster to do that. Sitting nice and tall, bringing the hands into Anjali Mudra at heart center, closing the eyes, finding that breath that we started our practice with. The breath in, the space, the breath out, and the space. And reminding yourself of those 3 last limbs of the 8 limbs of yoga, the consciousness, the awakening, the enlightenment, the bliss from Dharana, Dhyana and Samadhi. Always thanking yourself, and I thank you for your practice today. Namaste.